Dr. Kathleen Thompson is a pot policy expert here in Saskatchewan. You've studied and written extensively on this topic. The Prime Minister said going into this that the goals of this legislation really were to cut off access to, or restrict access to the minors and that crowd, and also to cut off those profits to organized crime. Do you feel like the legislation is achieving the goals that the Prime Minister had?
I'm very impressed with the piece of legislation that our federal government introduced today. I think that they've struck a good balance policy-wise in a very broad piece of legislation to try to look at restricting access to youth, which is the major goal of the initiative, and I think the approach they're taking is very good. And they're looking to balance the initiative, I think, in a tempered way for the rollout that will get at taxation revenues and decrease the black market. So I'm very impressed with the way the legislation has been formed.
As you look forward to how this business model will roll out versus also balancing the health concerns that come into play with pot use, what are your thoughts on how this should go forward from today, learning about how the legislation will work?
I'm so proud to be Canadian. I've had the opportunity to be in events in the United States in the cannabis sector in recent months, in Nevada and California. And in the U.S., the business is way ahead of the science, and it's quite imbalanced. And so it's really nice that we're taking a public health approach, not focusing on the revenues per se. There may be and probably will be taxation revenues and revenues down the road, but not initially. It's pretty costly to create this regulatory model. And I think that it will create business opportunities, though. But what is unknown is how the provinces will respond and what kind of opportunities can be created within the provinces. We have immense skill sets within these prairie provinces, so it's still a bit uncertain. But I think on balance, the approach is right.
At this stage, can you see what benefits it might have for Saskatchewan in particular?
Excellent question. I've been able to be in Alberta and BC a lot in recent months, and in those provinces they're quite ahead in the industry, so they're quite positioned to do well. Saskatchewan has a way to go in navigating the industry, but we are very well positioned with where we are located on the globe. Our vectors here in terms of sunlight and soil conditions for growing a high quality product, both in terms of hemp and cannabis, is very high. So we have an immense potential going forward, particularly with climate change, to produce some very high quality industrial, medical, and recreational products. So the opportunities are immense.
Do you think you expect to see a lot of farmers here look to diversify into the pot market?
I hope that will be the case. We're just finishing an article today encouraging more farmers to navigate this space. And our federal government just recently deregulated hemp production. So that means we're really encouraging people to consider growing hemp as an industrial product and as a medicinal product, a health product. And then in future, people might be positioned to grow cannabis. It's very expensive right now to get a license to be a cannabis cultivator, but in future that process may change. So we may be able to go to more outdoor grows or greenhouse grows that will allow for some sunlight that will be affordable for Saskatchewan farmers. So there are immense opportunities down the road.
Thanks for your time today, Kathleen.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.